Clerks 2, the animated series, I know. Well, he was supposed to make Clerks 2, the inanimate action figures, but he's thinking about bringing them out like next year, perhaps. Yes, sir.
Speaking like, people Clerks going, like, would you guys ever be down doing like kind of like an album of films, Frankenstein, like the Clerks meets President Obama or something like that?
Clerks meet President Obama. Really, that's your best picture thing? They want to be the only convenience store in Jersey. So we'll get Obama to give an executive decision right through Congress there, right above their heads. Quick stops of the official convenience store of New Jersey. What do you think? You'd watch it. See, that's the thing. Somebody would watch it. That's the funniest thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Before filming Clerks, did you know Kevin Smith?
No. How I met Kevin Smith was I auditioned. If anybody has the Clerks X 10-year anniversary edition of it, there's a great documentary called The Snowball Effect, but also, that's the name of it. You think I'm pulling my leg on that, but that's true. And there's another thing where it's all our auditions, the people who auditioned. So what happened was, he had rented out a local community theater that I had done acting out of. I'd been acting out of it for like 2 or 3 years prior. And so the deal was, can I rent your hall, but at the same, your theater, but at the same time, can you then go through your list of actors and call them, this is before cell phones, and see if these people would come in to audition for the film. He also put audition notices in the local papers and backstage and stuff like that. And so I came in, I was called then by the owner of the theater a month ahead of time. Hey, these guys are making this independent comedy. They're looking for actors. I totally think you should come in, you know. I was like, okay. I was like, what do they need? They're like, well, just prepare yourself a monologue, and I think the rest, they'll give you sides or whatever. I'm like, okay. So they were Monday and Tuesday night, I believe, were the auditions. I was doing another show at the other time, at another theater at the time, and I totally forgot on that Monday. And then the Tuesday morning or afternoon, the owner called me going, what happened? I thought you were coming out for auditions. I'm like, was that like, oh my God, was that last night? He goes, yeah, but there's another night tonight. I'm like, oh, okay. It's the same thing, just a monologue? He's like, yeah. So I cobbled together this monologue out of a dialogue from a show I was doing called Wait Until Dark. And I went down there and I auditioned, and it's a very villainous, evil role in that play that I did, because I didn't know what I was auditioning for. And I could have been auditioning for porn for all I knew, which was kind of a little bit like that. So he gave us this survey, like, what was your favorite film? Who's your favorite directors? What do you do? It was like really weird. The first time in an audition, I had like personality questions asked about me, and I was like, all right. And at the time, I was a big Spike Lee fan. Malcolm X had just come out. I was like, oh man, that's filmmaking there. That's awesome. And he kind of respected that. And then I did my audition. And I remember coming off the stage after doing the audition, he was like, oh man, that was really good. He goes, I wish I had a villain in my script, you'd be perfect for it. I was like, okay. And so then he called the people back a couple of days later who he wanted to see again, and this time he gave us copies of certain scenes. So once again, I still didn't know what this film is about, what's the thing, so I get this dialogue that I get, and I'm looking at it, and it's this conversation. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and it's the Death Star conversation. So I'm like, okay. So I learn it, I read it, I go in the room. He had then rented the rec center, the Leonardo Rec Center, to do his callbacks in. And we sit in there, and I'm reading opposite Kevin. Kevin's reading the Randall role, I'm reading the Dante role, and we're going back and forth, back and forth. And he has me come back in again, and then he's like, you know, I'm thinking about offering you this role of this convenience store clerk. I'm like, oh, great, awesome. I said, well, who is he in the film? Because I'm thinking, because when I was there at the audition, I forgot to mention, I had asked, how many principals are there? He said, there's 6, but they're already cast. I'm like, oh, all right. So this was all for day players and extras. And so when he said, do you want to do this role? I'm like, oh, what do you think? I'm like, well, that guy's, the other part is really funny, but the conversation in general is hilarious. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, just to say. And so he's like, do you want to do it? I was like, sure. Who is he in the film? He's like, well, he's one of the main guys. He's like, the name of the film is Clerks, and it's that guy and this guy are the 2 clerks, and he's like the main guy. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. When I asked at the theater a couple of days ago, you guys said, yeah, don't worry about that. And so the guy who would have been Clerks moved on to a different role, but that's how I got it. So I auditioned. Like, he knew Jeff from going to school with him. He knew people. He went over to the local community college and met Lisa Spoonhour in the parking lot. It literally was very shady the way he approached her. She even says that in the documentary. And Jeff wasn't even there to audition. He went to the audition to goof on one of his other friends who was auditioning. And Kevin's like, why don't you come up and try this? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And he gave him Jay's lines. So he was saying like Snoogans and stuff in his audition. If you get the Clerks X, or if you get from Netflix, I think you can watch the extra DVDs on Netflix. Watch it, it's worth a good laugh, especially the Snowball Effect documentary is really cool. So that's how I met him. And through that, doing that film and that relationship, we've grown to do other things, which I'm very thankful for. Kevin knew Jay, yeah. Kevin definitely knew Jay from the neighborhood. They had gone to the small Comic Cons up in New York City and stuff. He was like the neighborhood kind of kid, like, oh my God, it's Jay. Like he was a wacko kind of thing, you know. Like he was the kind of kid you want to hang out at parties, but at the same time you didn't know that type of thing where it was going. Any other final speedy round questions? Because it's got to wrap up.
What do you think about? What are your thoughts about Episode 7, Star Wars?
Episode 7 of Star Wars. Which one is that?
The new one that J.J. Abrams.
Oh, the new one that hasn't been. Well, hopefully it works. I mean, personally, I think they need to do like how the X-Men and the Marvels done it with origin stories. They need to do a Boba Fett origin story. I'm sorry. I mean, talk about killing off the most interesting freaking character in the whole thing. You know, or just do a spoof like Dog the Bounty Hunter type of thing, but it's Boba Fett and all his gang of Boba Fett type of gang of bounty hunters. That'd be funny. He's in it. Well, yeah, he's in Attack of the Clones. That is true, and stuff. But I'd like to do more, like, you know, yeah, you found out he's part of the clones, and you know, his dad gets killed in front of him and stuff like that. But I want to see like a whole bounty hunting type of episode, something. Yeah, go ahead.
You still live in New Jersey, and if you do, can you give some weird allegations and say that?
Because of everything that's going on. What went on? What happened? I've been down here for a weekend. What's going on? Have they seceded? Have they finally said, fuck this United States? Come on, Christy, take the wheel. We're sailing off. Fuck you, Pennsylvania. Sorry. No, I live in New York City now. I've been living in New York City for the past 3 years, but I'm literally 5 minutes over the bridge and I'm back into Jersey. And I like Jersey. Why? What's going on? I want to hear this. Oh, well, no, I mean, I have friends. That's an obligation. I love my friends. No, Kevin's been living in LA now probably about 11 years now, maybe 12 years or something like that, maybe even longer. I'm an East Coaster. Like, I go out to New York all the time, or LA quite often, and I get punchy. I get like, oh, these fucking people. Why can't I just be straight up honest? Why are you like, hey man, we'll totally do that with you. That's right, man, you're awesome. See you later. And never hear about them, forget it. You know what I mean? It was just like, Lucas, dude, you totally promised me that Boba Fett role. No, I'm just kidding. It's just, I get more work. I do a lot of theater. A lot of my work is live theater. And so that's where most of my work is in the New York, New Jersey area. So, plus I like having seasons. You know, LA has seasons. You have a word season, you have fire season, you have the rainy season,
Much like
riot season. And every once in a while they win a hockey or basketball championship, whatever. I'm over it. So yeah.
Are you actually like really like friends with, like, keep up with the classmates from USU? Like, are you and Randall friends at all? Do you talk?
Oh yeah, we own a bar together up in Sarasito. No, are we friends with any of them? I keep in touch with Jeff through emails. He lives in Central California. I talk to Marilyn probably every couple of weeks through Facebook or phone calls. We do the con circuit as well. I just saw her 2 weekends ago. Scott Schiaffo, the Chuli's Gum guy, I just saw him last week. Be doing another convention with him in Connecticut in a couple of weeks. Lisa Spoonhour, I don't stay in touch with directly, but through Facebook she does. Jay, I see probably about 6 or 7 times a year because he does conventions as well, so we'll hang out and do things together. We'll be on the podcast together if Kevin can't make it. Right now they're in Europe doing Jay and Silent Bob Gets Old over there. Right, I think it's Jay and Silent Bob Get Cultured or something. Who else? And that's pretty much it out of the cast. I mean, Ernie O'Donnell, who played Rick Darris, he works on the Comic Book Men show, so I see him a lot down there. So I'll be down at the store shooting an episode in August, so I'll see those guys again. So, yeah, but we keep in a certain amount of touch. Final question, anyone? Yeah. No, did I ever envision that the cult following that would happen like this? How do I feel about that? I like it. I mean, you're all listening to me talk. That's kind of cool. You know what I mean? I like being associated with such a tremendous writer and a really funny storyline. Yes. Yes.
In Star Wars, in the cantina, who shot first?
Who shot first? Obviously Han. He got him. He was a better shot. And does it matter? Did you want Han to get like a blaster to the gut? I mean, no, he's already losing a foot in the next movie. Yeah. Who had? Someone had. Yeah, you got that one. All right.
My last question is donkey scene in Clerks 2.
The donkey scene in Clerks 2. What about it? What about it? Well, if you ever go to Tijuana, it was definitely interesting. Real quick, because I know Dana's coming in here shortly. We took over a abandoned Burger King in Orange County, California, right in Buena Vista, right next to a couple of blocks from Knott's Berry Farms amusement park. So it's in this kind of suburban type of neighborhood. And so our set designers and artists are there painting and remodeling the whole thing. We're still rehearsing in some studio while this is going on for like a week and a half. So if I was in the neighborhood and I'm seeing, oh wow, someone's taken over the Burger King, they're turning it into, it's got yellow and purple, it's kind of funky looking. Literally within 3 days of that going on, they had moved this kind of metal outdoor corral thing out the back. And the next thing you know, there's this donkey parked outside. Out the back. So I can just imagine driving by like, hey, wow, honey, there's a new restaurant. But what the, is that a fucking donkey? I mean, is it going to be a Mexican restaurant, or are they serving donkey? Oh, I'm not eating there. So there was that. So then when we get to the scene, Zach, who was a really good friend of ours who worked like behind the scenes stuff for us, who is Sexy Stud, him doing that scene, when we were watching him do it, was just hilarious. I mean, there was two things going through my mind as we're on this side of the camera watching him do it. Was A, hopefully the donkey doesn't shit and piss everywhere, and B, if that thing does and starts donkeying around, kicking the legs about, this is a small friggin' restaurant, and please may Zach's junk not come out while that's going on at the same time. So it was very weird and just like kind of like, wow, I can't believe it. But here is the upside to having a donkey show in your movie. When we were rehearsing with Rosario Dawson and we were like, hey, we did our read-throughs and she really liked it, and kind of Kevin was kind of very frank with her. He's like, just curious, why did you say yes to the project? And she says, you want the honest truth? He goes, yeah, I wanted to see how you're going to do this donkey show. How fucking cool is Rosario Dawson for that long? Some hot chick like, I want to see a donkey show. That's awesome. One more question and then I gotta go. Go ahead.
How do you really feel about Ash to Mouth?
How do I really feel about Ass to Mouth? First of all, it's a dude asking. So don't get all like, yeah! All right, chocolate popsicle, here we go! Guess they're big fans of it here in Miami. I'm a little respectful. I'm not a big fan of it. I've never, to be honest with you, I'm going to just be straight up. I've never done it. And you know what? I would never even think about having my girlfriend even go there and be like, yeah! Every time I kiss you, I'm going to taste chicken fajita. Ooh. What the? Oh. Yeah, it would have to happen in Mexico for that shit to happen. It's just crazy. I don't know if I don't know. Yeah, but great question to end on. Wow. Like literally end on. I want to give a big, what's up? Oh, yeah. Sure. We're going to do, you guys want to be in a big group shot? Yeah. We're going to do two of them then, because I'm going to use my phone as well. You mind doing that for me as well, Chief? What's your name? Pedro. Give a round of applause for Pedro, everybody. Let's make this look like a Chris Rock crazy fucking huge crowd. Actually, I should tweet this, tag Kevin, and like, yeah, I'm getting crowds too. I don't have to go to Europe for that shit. So that's mine when you're done. After yours. I'll take yours first. Yeah, get in. Yeah, no, stay far back so you're in frame, but I mean people in the back.
Oh,
Get in, get in, get in.
sorry. I apologize.
Ready on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. One more now, one more. Actually, 2 more.
On 3, guys. 1,
1, 2, 3. Now we need another one. Everybody give him the camera the finger. No, get back up there. Finger, get up there. Ready? Everybody got the finger up? 1, 2, 3. Fuck off! Yeah, thank you guys. For those waiting to see the incomparable Dana Snyder, stick around. He's up next.